Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We're going to be doing a walkthrough today of Matlab. But first, I have some stuff that I want to show you. I'm going to pull up of some stuff that I found that I posted to Twitter. So one is an article. I'm going to open that up. Let me just share my screen with you real quick. Sorry. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is an article that was written July 19th, 2022. And it was posted by BangorDailyNews.com. And it says, Congress needs to broaden its definition of national security. And then it says, an excellent Bangor Daily News editorial from March said that we can all help Ukraine. Our federal government itself has given more than $54 billion. Why? It's viewed as a national security crisis, as is the Havana syndrome. However, the CIA later indicated this foreign threat could be much more related to domestic medical issues of the brain, which don't get anywhere near the same priority. Congress can stop it. It says, domestic emergencies can be equal of any foreign national security matter. I served in the Air Force in Europe during the 1961-1962 Berlin crisis, when the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact members tried to take over West Berlin. Thankfully, it was resolved peacefully. However, in the same era, on the domestic side of our federal government passed the IMD Exclusion Law. Through the years, this law became outdated and discriminatory, which resulted in many more American deaths through congressional inaction. No federal law should be a national security threat to Americans. We urge our main congressional delegation to help fix it. Please don't delay. Co-sponsor Representative Grace Napolitano's bill, H.R. 2611, with a comparable bill in the Senate. It will save many American lives. Many thanks to Senator Joe Baldacci and State Representative Barbara Cardone for taking the lead with other members of our main legislature, calling upon Senator Susan Collins, Angus King, and Representative Jared Golden to end this destructive law. Shelley Pingree should please join in too. Written by Joseph H. Pickering, Jr., Chair, Truth Tear Down This Wall Committee, Bangor. So let's look at the IMD exclusion law. Medicaid's Institution for Mental Disease, IMD exclusion. Medicaid is a joint federal-state program that finances the delivery of primary and acute medical services, as well as long-term services and supports for a diverse low-income population, including children, pregnant women, adults, individuals with disabilities, and people aged 65 and older. What is the IMD exclusion? The IMD exclusion is a long-standing policy under Medicaid that prohibits the federal government from providing federal Medicaid funds to states for services rendered to Medicaid-eligible individuals who are patients in IMDs of the Social Security Act. When a Medicaid-eligible individual is a patient in an IMD, he or she cannot receive Medicaid coverage for services provided inside or outside the IMD. Due to this exception, explained in the legislative history section, the IMD exclusion applies to individuals aged 21 through 64. Determination of whether a facility is an IMD depends on whether its overall character is that of a facility established and maintained primarily to care and treat individuals with mental diseases. For the definition of IMDs, the term mental disease includes diseases listed as medical disorders and international classification of diseases, with a few exceptions. For example, mental retardation. State Medicaid Manual, see Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services. Under this definition, substance use disorders are included as mental diseases. If substance abuse treatment follows a psychiatric model and is performed by medical personnel, it is considered medical treatment of mental diseases. So basically, they just want to be more inclusive of coverage of mental health expenditures, like what you would have to pay for to get mental health. So that's what that bill is. It's frustrating though, because in the article for me, I mean, I know that in the article it states that Havana syndrome is a domestic brain problem. I mean, that just seems neglectful of the fact that, you know, a lot of Havana syndrome victims are victims of neuroweapons and weapons. I mean, weapons similar to what those victims are also what targeted individuals go through. I know targeting varies across the board, like different forms of it. And I know that mental health problems can arise from the actual targeting. And I know that Havana syndrome victims do suffer from traumatic brain injury, but that's really the symptom. And I think that they should be focused more on the threat of the weapons themselves and trying to address that as, like Lynn Bear says, a public safety issue, because that's what it is. And there's another bill that was put into legislator, was introduced to the House in September 14th, 2021. And this is called the Directed Energy Threat Emergency Response Act. So for me, this says it all. I mean, this was a product of the anomalous health incidents, the victims of Havana syndrome. So the title says, hey, yeah, we know it's directed energy. We know these are weapons. So why aren't you doing anything about it? Why aren't you educating everyone on how to tackle this as an issue of, you know, public safety and keeping the citizens of America safe from these weapons and human experimentation that may or may not be happening? It's frustrating. So if you want to take a look at this, it's congress.gov. The bill is HR 5263, Directed Energy Threat Emergency Response Act. It hasn't had any actions on it since it was introduced. So I just think that if you're going to be active and write your senator or representatives, then maybe tell them that they need to include protection in this bill since it's up and it's in, you know, it's already in the works. So maybe they could take action with this bill and help us. So it's just something to be aware of. So anyway, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick. So I have a book that I've been going through for signals research because I am being hit with no-touch torture, neuroweapons, and being assaulted with directed energy weapons. And so I'm a victim of that, and no one's really coming to the rescue for a lot of us. So we really kind of have to do the research on our own and try to help each other and learn what we can about shielding and signals and gathering evidence. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm trying to help as much as I can. So this book is called Software Defined Radio using Matlab, Simulink, and RTL SDR. It's a really big book. So hopefully you can see that. And there is the authors. So I've gotten maybe this far into it. I bought Matlab, which is kind of expensive. So it was over $100. It was around 120, I guess. Might have been a little more. Between 100 and 200. And this book helps you go through and set up your SDR, which is a dongle for capturing radio waves. So that's what I'm using today. Is I have my RTL SDR USB stick plugged into this computer. It's hooked up to this fancy antenna. This is the telescoping antenna. So this is the one I'm using today. And it's aimed pretty close to my head, so I'm not that far away. So you'll see me use it to capture some signals. So the first two chapters kind of introduce you to how to set this up. So that's where I'm at. I just got it installed and set up. So I'm going to share my screen again and show you what it looks like. Okay. There we go. Okay, so this is what the software looks like before you do anything. It just is kind of boring because you don't know really what, there's a bunch of technical tools you've got to learn. So I'm really new. This is literally maybe my third or fourth usage of this so far. But I have the SDR hooked up and I went through the processes of installing the package for this Matlab. And so this is what the first simulation, my first time running the SDR looks like. So on the right, you have the waterfall, which is showing you the signals, which are the red and the yellow. You can see them, they look like streams of data. That's the signals on the right. And on the left, you have the fast Fourier transform signal, which is, you know, the spikes. So you get to see the peaks of the signal and kind of the width and how they move about. So this is hooked up to this antenna that I showed you, the one next to me. And I have turned on the peaks. So up here, it has a little button that says Peak Finder. So I have that turned on so you can see that it's the little arrows are the little peaks, and it's finding where, you know, the signals are that are in my area. And on the right here, it's showing the harmonics of the signal that's in my area, which I was just shocked. I mean, that it picked up all the harmonizing frequencies going around me, because they're using heterodyning on me. I mean, because that's what they use to assault me. So I was shocked that it picked it up. So you can see those are the ones that are around me. And I want you to see what happens when I put the antenna near my ear, so we can capture the pulse rates being sent to my head. So here we go. I'm going to put the antenna right at my ear canal. And you can see it changes immediately. And you can see that this signal over here to the left is that signal. So I'm going to pull the antenna out of my ear and it's going to go away. Watch. See how it changes drastically, the peaks? Okay, I'm going to do it again. And now you can see it again. There it is. So you can clearly see a delineation of me getting hit with signals. Okay, so anyway, that's just something I wanted to demonstrate today. I haven't gone through the whole book yet, but I'm excited to because I know there's a lot more analysis that I'll be able to do with it and finding signals around me and even simulating signals that may be able to interfere with their signals. So we'll see. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope you're targeting lessons if you have targeting. And I'm here for you. I'm on Twitter if you want to reach out. I'm TIville tweets on Twitter. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I started a signals scrapbook. So what I'm doing right now is taking pictures of my spectrum analyzer. Here, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm taking pictures of my spectrum analyzer, which is this Portapack, and it has a similar waterfall on it. So I've been taking pictures of it. And my project for tonight is to go in a different room and take pictures of the same of the signals. And then I'm going to try to isolate the signals around me, like the Wi-Fi. And I did one on my phone, so you saw that one. And just more signal stuff. So that's what I'm doing. And if you have anything that you think you want me to, research, let me know if you have any ideas on signals research and stuff like that. So anyway, that's all. I will see you on the calls. Hosting Monday night conference calls for Targeted Massachusetts. So you can find me on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central on Targeted Massachusetts conference call. You can go to targetedmassachusetts.org. It's org. Terrible. I should know that. Yeah, it is org. And they also have a YouTube channel, so check them out. They have a bunch of interviews that are really great that are up. And I'll be hosting an after call tomorrow night after James's call on the Plume channel. So you can catch me there. I'll see you guys around.